Hail, kindred. It's Tommy, and I'm here for another episode of the Heathen Fireplace. As you can see, it's just turning dark over here in Tennessee, and I thought, what a better time would it be than now, which is around 9 o'clock, even though it's just becoming dark, to make one. Sorry I haven't been making these lately. It's been raining, and Thor has begat us storms. And I mean like big ones. Tornadoes and hail have not blown through here, but to the southern part of us, luckily. And I wanted to tell you guys a tale. Unlike some of the other ones, which I have a deep meaning into it. My last one and the one after that, this one really doesn't match it. Sorry. And I want to make it different, so I'm going to spin you guys the tale of how Thor got his hammer. Sorry if my voice is a little groggy. I've been sick for the past couple days. Me and some of my family has. But we're doing good. Loki made much trouble for the gods with his evil pranks and his malice, but there was one time his mischief worked for good in the end. Thor might never have owned his wonderful hammer had it not been for Loki. It came about in this way. Thor had a beautiful wife whose name was Sif. Her hair was long and yellow and shone like gold in the sunlight. Thor was proud of her. One day, while Sif was lay sleeping under the trees where Iduna's apples grow, Loki cut off all her hair. He did it for a prank. When Sif woke and discovered the loss of her beautiful hair, she went weeping to Thor. "This is the work of that rascal Loki," cried Thor angrily. "I'll break every bone in his body." He rushed off to look for Loki. It was not long before he found him and seized him. Loki was filled with terror when he saw Thor's anger. He begged for mercy, but Thor would not let him go. "Wait, O mighty Thor," begged Loki. "Don't punish me, and I will get new hair for Sif. I will find real hair of gold that will shine in the sunlight and will grow like other hair." "How will you do that?" said Thor. "I will go to the Dark Elves, to the sons of Ivaldi, and ask them to make the hair for me," said Loki. They can make every kind of wondrous thing." Thor gave his consent. Oh my. "But remember," he cried, shaking Loki so that his teeth chattered in his head, "if you don't bring back hair that will grow like other hair, I will break every bone in your body. And it must be as long and as beautiful as Sif's own hair. Now go." Loki was only too glad to set out. The dwarves lived deep within the mountains, and he had a long journey to make. When Loki came to the dwelling place of the Dark Elves, they said that they could perform this task. They made the hair, and they made two other gifts as well. They made the spear Gungnir, which became Odin's possession, and they made the magic ship Skidbladnir. Or Skidbladnir. On his way home with the gifts, Loki met another dwarf named Brock. Loki was feeling pleased with himself and proud of his success. At once he made a wager with Brock. "See what I have," cried Loki. "I'll wager my head that your brother Sindri can't make 3 gifts as precious as these." Sindri was famed among the dwarves, and Brock knew how great was his brother's skill. "I'll take that wager," said Brock. "Come with me, we will go to the smithy, and we will see what Sindri can make." Brock explained the wager to his brother, and Sindri started the fire in the forge. The flames lit up the 4 corners of the dwarf's cave. When it was hot enough, Sindri laid within the fire a pig's head. He handed the bellows to Brock and told him to work them without ceasing until he should return. Then he left the cave. As soon as Sindri was gone, Loki changed himself into a huge fly. He lit upon Brock's head and stung him, but Brock kept the bellows working and did not let go. When Sindri returned, he took the work out of the fire. It was a boar, a wild pig with mane and bristles of gold. Then Sindri placed gold in the fire and bade Brock work the bellows as before. This time the fly settled on Brock's neck and stung twice as hard, but Brock did not let go of the bellows. When Sindri returned, he looked far out the fire with golden ring, which is called Draupnir. For the third gift, Sindri placed iron in the fire. Air in the way. Keep the bellows going, Brock, or all will be spoiled, said Sindri, and he left the smithy. This was Loki's last chance, and the fly settled between Brock's eyes and stung his eyelids so hard that the blood ran down. The pain of the blood blinded him. Brock had to pause to sweep the fly away. He let go of the bellows with one hand, and only for an instant. But the fire died down. At that moment, Sindri returned and said that what was in the hearth had come near to being spoiled. He took the work out of the fire, and it was a hammer. Sindri gave the 3 gifts to Brock. Take these to the gods, he said, and see whose gifts will win the wager. Loki and Brock set off for Asgard, the home of the gods, each bearing his gifts. The gods were called together and met in the great council hall named Gladtime. Gladtime. Where was that? They took their places on the high seats. It was agreed that Odin and Thor and Frey should decide whose gifts were best. Loki presented his gifts first. He gave Thor the golden hair for Sif. To Odin he gave the spear Gungnir, and to Frey the ship Skidbladnir, telling the virtues of each. As soon as it was placed upon Sif's head, the hair would grow like other hair. The spear Gungnir would never fall short of its mark, and the ship Skidbladnir would always find favoring winds, no matter in what direction it was set. Yet it could be folded like a napkin and placed in Frey's pocket if he so wished. When Brock offered his gifts, he gave to Odin the golden ring, which is called Draupnir. Every 9 nights, 8 of the rings like itself will drop from it, said Brock. He gave the boar, which was called Goldmane, to Frey. No horse can run through the air or over the sea with such swiftness, said Brock. And you can always find your way back. You can always find your way by the light which shines from its bane and bristles of gold, no matter how black and dark the night may be. The fire is dying down quickly, so I must finish this tale. Brock gave the hammer to Thor. The name of the hammer is Mjolnir, he told Thor. With it you can strike as hard a blow as you place, and whatever comes in your way. As you please, at whatever comes in your way. It's hard to read without light. Fire favor me. Oh, hey. You can hurl it as far as you like, and it will always find its mark and return to your hand. Yet, if you wish, you can make the hammer small and put it in your pocket. The hammer had only one fault, though Brock did not mention that. The hammer was a little short. That was because Loki had caused Brock to drop the bellows. Odin and Thor and Frey had a council. They decided that Brock's gifts were best, for Thor's hammer was the most valuable gift of all. This was just the weapon the gods needed in their wars against the frost giants. The giants had better beware. Now Thor could hurl the mighty hammer at them and catch it again in his hand. Odin rose to his feet and announced to all that Brock had won the wager. Brock immediately demanded Loki's head. "What good is my head to you?" cried Loki. "I will give you a great sum of gold for a ransom. You will be the richest of all the dwarves. Dwarves love gold, but Brock would have none of it, and said that Loki must keep to the terms of the bargain. "Then catch me if you can," cried Loki. In an instant he was far off, for he had on the shoes which could carry him through the air and over water in the twinkling of an eye. Brock begged Thor to catch Loki. Thor was still angry with Loki and willing enough to do so. Thor asked Frey to lend him the boar Goldmane. He leapt on the boar's back, and away he went through the air. Before long he had brought Loki back to Asgard. Brock was ready to cut off his head, but Loki cried, "My head! Yes, but not an inch of my neck. I do not wager my neck." How could Brock cut off Loki's head without touching his neck? Brock had to let it go at that. If I had my brothers all, I would sew your mischief-speaking lips together, he cried out in anger. No sooner had he spoken than the awl was there, and of itself pierced Loki's lips, when Brock sewed them together with a thong. Not that it troubled Loki much, for when Brock was gone, he ripped out the thongs. Loki, as usual, got off with a little punishment, but the gods were much richer for their new gifts. I hope you all liked the story. Tell me what you guys think. I really love hearing from you. And keep in your hearts all the people who lost someone these past few months and weeks, for they are the ones that are going through much torment. So, I'll call that a good night. Hail the Aesir, hail the Vanir, hail the kindred!